My name is Waseem Iqbal and I'm the Fundraising Development Manager at Human Relief Foundation, where I've worked now for 2.5 years. The main reason why I wanted to start working for Human Relief Foundation was because around about that time that I started looking into the charity sector, there was a lot of stuff that was going on in Syria, and I felt really helpless here in the UK, and I just wanted to find a way to be able to help those people. And Human Relief Foundation, they gave me that opportunity.
Group three, go on to the food packs.
One of the stories that sticks out the most to me from Pakistan was one day we had set up a medical camp in our hospital, which is in Isahel, and people were coming over to get help with medical attention, see a doctor, see a nurse. But one woman in particular, she came over and she was visibly very distraught, very upset, and she literally grabbed one of our staff members by the collar and was begging him for food, like literally begging him for food, because she had heard that we had done food distributions in the area. And she was like, what about my kids? Are my kids not hungry? Are my kids not in need? What about us? You haven't done anything for me. You have to do something for my kids. And she was just so upset that, usually we wouldn't do something like that just because one person's turned up and demanded something. But just with how upset she was, and then knowing that she had 6 children and she was a single mother, we decided we wanted to know more. So we went to visit where they were staying, and once we got there, we were shocked to see that none of the kids were at home because they all had to go out to work. So these kids, the eldest of which was around about 12 years old, no more than 12, had all gone out to work, and that work that they were doing, that little bit of money that they were getting, was just so that they could get by. It wasn't for them to progress or to make a future for themselves. It was just so they could eat on that day. And that was a really hard thing for us to see. And then one of the little girls, we found her with a bunch of stones and rocks, and what she was doing was making a house. And we went over, and Muqaddas asked her, what's this that you're making? And she goes, we're making a house. This is our dream, to have a house to live in. And she was making it with rocks and stones. And that really, hit a soft spot with us. And we did a fundraiser on the day. And we managed to get some money together to get them a room to stay in, to get them some livestock, and to give them some food packs. But everybody in that area generally was of the same situation. When we delivered a water pump outside one elderly gentleman's yard, I remember him coming out and for 5 minutes not being able to speak to me because he was just crying so much, and he was crying of happiness, and he just kept holding my hands and just kissing my hands, and he just couldn't get any words out. And by the time that he finally could, what he told me was that he'd been waiting 40 years since he had been living in that place for somebody to bring water, because he was walking 3 kilometers twice a day to go and get water for his family. And the temperature, I remember on that day, was 45 degrees. It was really hot. I was thirsty just being there. And for an old man around about 90 years old to walk 3 kilometers twice a day, and then to carry that heavy load of water home as well, that really, really made me appreciate it. Earlier this year, we found ourselves in Ghana, and one of the main issues in Ghana is that there's a lot of places that don't have either electricity, water, education, and things like this. But where I was most shocked was where we went to visit the people in one particular village to do a needs assessment on digging a borehole for them so that they could get water. And we asked where they get water from at the moment, and what they took us to was a sort of swampy looking, I don't know what to call it. It just looked like a swamp, but it was like a pond, a swampy pond, and it was green and it had like insects all over it, and it just didn't look very nice. It didn't smell very nice, and I could not imagine anybody even wanting to get near it, let alone get in it. But then when I asked them that this is the water that you use, I thought maybe they wash their clothes in it. At that point, a mother that had a little baby strapped to her, she scoops up some water in a cup and gives it to the baby, and at the same time animals approach the pond as well, and they start drinking from it. So we're there, and it's this one dirty pond that animals, children, adults are all drinking from it at the same time, washing their clothes in it, washing themselves in it. They're doing everything with this same dirty, mucky water. And I just couldn't help but think about all of the, the health hazards that go with it, all of the problems that this is going to give them, and the fact that they have no other choice apart from to drink that. Like, as a parent, me being a parent myself, watching that woman take that water, knowing and being able to see how visibly, dirty it is, and having to give that to your child, knowing that if your child doesn't have that, then what else is the child gonna have? And I spoke to one of the women in the village, and I just had to stop during the interview, and I said, do you know where I'm from, we have taps that you can turn on in every household at any time of the day. You can choose how much water you want to come out, and you can choose whether it's hot or cold as well. And she stopped what she was doing, and she looked at me with a look that was half shocked but half almost disgusted that she had heard what I just said. And she said, Allahu Akbar, you're living in heaven and you don't even know it. And then there was just this awkward silence in the interview, because we both just started contemplating on what she'd heard from me and what I'd heard from her. Because what she heard from me was absolutely mind-blowing for her, that there's people in the world that live with these luxuries, but her and her family and her kids are living like that. So it absolutely blew her mind to hear something like that, of how lucky we are, all these different resources and luxuries that we have, but for them, they go days without it.
Everybody else can move back there. Just leave him.
When we saw situations like this in Ghana, the whole team was immediately moved to do something about it. So what we did is we contacted the team back here, and we set up a campaign to set up some water wells in Ghana, and the response from the donors here was absolutely amazing. And it was so fantastic to be there firsthand, to see it all happening, from when the money is actually being raised to starting the digging straight away. And to see the people's reactions, to be able to go to those same kids that I watched drink that dirty water. And I remember saying it to them, that today is the last day that you drink the water like this. And it was nice to be able to be there and say that to them, and then see their reactions as well. Like, people actually started singing and dancing, and they went and they got us gifts, and everybody was just so happy. Literally the whole village came out, and they had a party. Everybody was just so happy. We all walked down together, like literally hundreds of people from the village walked down together to this site where the borehole was gonna be dug. And we all just did it together. Everybody was there. It was like a ceremony, it was like a celebration. It's just this one machine doing the digging, but everybody's just so excited. And then when the water gushed out of the ground and everybody saw that, it was just pure elation. It was people actually went to the ground to prostrate, to show how thankful they were. And there's so many people saying Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, and even so many people that said that this was the best day of their life. I remember one old man coming up to me in particular, and he'd been moved to tears, and he said that I wish my parents and my grandparents were here today so they could see something like this happening. And I'm glad that the children that come after me in this village, they won't have to go through the same struggle that I went through. Earlier this year, we went out to Bangladesh as well, and we went for various number of projects. But something that we weren't anticipating was the amount of street children that we saw. Now, this street children culture is absolutely, it's crazy. It's out of hand in Bangladesh. Wherever we were going, there was children out on the streets fending for themselves of really, really young ages, and it made us feel helpless. We wanted to do something for these children, but we knew that finding them a meal to eat on that day was only a very short-term solution. So we wanted to set up an orphanage. We found somebody that was going to donate the land to us. We set up the appeal and we put it out. And in only 5 days' time, it only took us 5 days from the day that we launched the appeal to the day that we started building, because everybody came together so fast. All the donors back here that were watching the wonderful work that we were doing there, they were so moved by seeing these orphans that we had found and that we wanted to help, that everybody came together, everybody gave a little bit. And you know, sometimes that's how great things happen, is by everybody coming together and just doing a little bit. And it was so beautiful to see that happen while we were in Bangladesh, for so many people on this side to get together and to send us the donations and to show us the support that we needed, you know, to get something sorted for those orphans. And then what we did is, once the money had come in and we started building, they all, you know, were there. I remember them all being dressed in pink as well. It was another celebration. We all ate together. The building, we all started doing it together. I remember we laid the first brick down together as well. And it was an absolutely amazing day. Everybody from the community, the local villagers, but even from the local government and stuff like that, loads of people came out, because it was such a beautiful thing that was happening, that all of these, you know, kids that before that, you know, weren't sure where they were going to stay, now had this orphanage being built for them. And what they found most interesting and what they were happiest about was that it's easy to feel like you're forgotten about and that nobody cares about you, especially when you're an orphan. So what they found most special was that people from all the way on the other side of the planet, that somebody wanted to do something for them, somebody wanted to help them, you know, that somebody's thinking about them. And there's these people that they've never met, but you know, they came together, they sent the money, we built the orphanage, and now it's being built, and I can't wait to go back. Look, the hardest part of our job is we go out there and we give it absolutely everything, whichever country we go to, and often we leave a piece of ourselves there. And every situation steals our heart, and we want to be able to do everything that we can for absolutely every person that we meet, but we know that that's not possible. But we still want to help as many people as possible. The hardest part is experiencing it all, seeing it all, and hearing it all, but then trying to relay that back to everybody here so that they feel the same, or that they can get the reality of the situation. But we're ready to go out and do that work. We're ready to give our time, our energy, our blood, sweat, tears, whatever it takes. We'll go out and we'll do that. We make the sacrifices. We'll leave our family behind this Ramadan. You know, we won't spend Eid with our kids this year in order for somebody else to be able to eat through Ramadan, for other kids to be able to celebrate their Eid this year. But it's not possible without people's help. It's not possible without more help. The worst situation that I've been in, the worst thing as a fundraiser, is going somewhere thinking that you've done something good, like doing a food distribution to hundreds or thousands of people, but then realizing that it's not enough and that there's more people waiting outside, there's more people that need food, and there's more people that don't know where their next meal is coming from. And that's the hardest part of our job, and that's a situation that we don't want to be in this Ramadan. It's a situation that we never want to be in again. So now really is the time, and it's time not just to give your money, it's time to give your heart.